working a long 9 to 5. Hope you're having a great night as we bring to you another edition of Talktagon via Bodyslam, episode 30. 30 episodes deep into this. I was not here for episode 1, nor was I here for episode 10, I believe. But of course, it's been a great, great journey to be here with, of course, the great combat convos, Max himself. Of course,
Thank you.
Brady's watching over us like a happy god or whatever. He's like, good, the show must continue. But
Yes,
what a
sir.
weekend it was. Combat sports was alive and incredible. We had UFC Noche, which was in San Antonio at the Frostbank Center, where the headliner was Diego Lopez against Gene Silva of the Fighting Nerds. Huge rivalry, huge blood brawl, and it was amazing from start to finish. We also had the once in a lifetime battle between Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford for all the gold, all the super middleweight gold. It was a phenomenal fight, like start to finish. A lot of people didn't know who to pick. A lot of people were very hesitant that day. My neighbors were all partying because they were all celebrating Canelo Alvarez. They wanted him to win so badly. I was the only person who came outside and said, "Let's go Crawford." And so, of course, that caused some tension and everything. But that was a great fight. Start to, like, and here's the thing that annoyed me a little bit about this fight. I hate people who judge it online because you don't know what they like. You're asking yourself, why did you
Yeah.
say, "Oh, this round won," "Oh, this round," "Oh, this round"? The problem that a lot of people have is that they will think that it's a close fight because they watch too many Floyd Mayweather fights. And if you watch the Manny Pacquiao fight against Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao was winning 6 rounds to nothing. But of course, they handed it to Floyd Mayweather because they're like, "Oh, he blocked with his shoulder, he lands 2 jabs, oh, he won the fight." That's defense, fellas. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I land 50 punches to somebody's 2 punches, and you're saying, "Oh, he won because oh he blocked out 5 of your punches," I don't know how that works, pal. I feel like damage is something that we should be talking about when it comes to boxing. Like Mike
Yeah.
Tyson got 5 knockdowns in this round. Okay, good, but if Evander beat him for 3 rounds straight, so that judge's scorecard literally says 10-5. Like you cannot tell me otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but in the end, after a beautiful performance from Terrence Crawford, showing ins and outs of what he can do, the defense, the aggression, everything about him was just crisp. We got a winner, Terrence Crawford, shocked the whole world. Now there's only 3 men in this world to defeat Saul Canelo Alvarez. The first one was Floyd Mayweather. The second, Dimitri Bivol at light heavyweight, and now Terrence Crawford in this once in a lifetime fight. Canelo Alvarez has 2 more fights on his contract in 2026, and he says that this will be it for him. Those last 2 fights in 2026 will be the final of his career, and he'll walk off into the sunset after an illustrious, legendary career that's been over since 2005.
Yeah.
Like it's the crazy thing. I
Long
put a
career.
fun fact, the fun fact here that I put in the chat for Body Slam to Brady was that March 14, 2008, both Crawford and Canelo fought on that same day. Different cards, different different sides of the world. Uh, we had Canelo Alvarez win in the 9th round of 12 rounds by knockout, whereas Crawford won in the first round via knockout out of a 4-round fight. It's crazy that for those two to fight on that same day and then fight each other very, very down the line and to see this once in a lifetime fight. If somebody told me in 2008, "Oh, Crawford's a once in a lifetime fighter," I'd be like, maybe. If somebody told me about Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford happening in 15 plus years, I'd be like, yeah, maybe. Maybe in your wildest dreams it'll happen. Like
Yeah.
if you're playing Fight Night Champion, go be my guest, whatever. But that's not the case here, and it actually came to life. We saw Terrence Crawford show the whole world that at the age of 37, which he's 2 years older than Canelo Alvarez, he can go in there, look like the fresh, younger fighter, and kick the ass of one of the greatest of all times. What were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah. I was having a tough time like picking a fighter where I think that Crawford had definitely looked better, but we'd never seen him at this weight class. So there was so much unknown going into this. It's like, how Crawford look at this new size? How's Canelo going to look against a slick boxer who's able to be faster than him and have better footwork than him? And we saw that Canelo was just looking like the slower fighter the whole fight, and Crawford was able to take his shots. Where that was kind of the question. He'll probably be able to hit Canelo, but if Canelo lands, how will that affect? And Crawford, honestly, didn't get hit clean much. And when he did, he was able to take it well. So I think from then on out, he was able to start letting his punches go after he felt the power a little bit. And he was like, all right, I can take it. And then we saw the fight get going after it was kind of a little bit of a slow start at those early rounds. And then as the fight got going, they really started to turn it up. And then that's when we started to see Crawford really separate himself, I think, where Canelo was able to do body work, and that was about it. It was like very one-dimensional, where we saw Crawford mix it up, very good on the defense, and then he'd release a 6-punch combo on him. And it was just so hard for Canelo to read that he would just honestly start getting frustrated. Once I saw Canelo just get pissed and frustrated, we've seen that in the Bivol fight where he just looks defeated before the fight's even over, and then it's pretty much over from there, where Crawford really took over in those last few rounds. So what a performance from Crawford. I think that he's definitely has a lot more fights in him than Canelo. I think that, Canelo's probably time is running out after, like you're saying, a great career, but so many fights, been pro since he's 15. I feel like maybe he was looking a little slower, but all credit to Crawford for proving a lot of people wrong and putting on a masterclass of hit and don't get hit, and outsmarting Canelo for sure. I was very disappointed in Canelo's trainer in that last round. He's like, just protect yourself. I'm like, protect yourself. I'm like, you're gonna lose the round, bro. I mean, you're gonna lose the fight if you don't get the knockout. So it seemed like they were kind of just like, all right, we've already lost the fight. Let's just get out of here. So all credit to Crawford and his team for putting up an amazing game plan and outboxing him for the majority of the fight, especially once it got going. They were kind of close early on, but the separation got more clear as the fight went on, 100%.
100%. And the frustrations that was shown by Canelo Alvarez was very, very, very visible. And he just kept throwing his fist down, just getting so pissed off at the situation because every time he went for a body strike, he just got connected with an uppercut, connected with a big hook. He looked right there at the Turkey fella, and he was like, man, what did I get myself into? I'm not gonna say his last name, Alashiki, whatever his name is, but it was Dana White, Alashiki, Mark Wahlberg, and Mr. Beast. What kind of table is that? You know what I mean? Like Marky Mark and the Funky
I know, bro. I'm like, what is this?
They're like,
oh, we
need to get millionaires and billionaires, and they just picked those 4 out. I was like, okay, whatever. That was the craziest thing, but I didn't want to put out here the goat's back.
Hey, crank it.
Crank it. But
shout out to Randy.
Shout out Randy. We missed you last week. But no, the frustration shown, the way that he was fighting towards rounds 5 to the last one, it was just not Canelo Alvarez's night, nowhere near it. And Terrence was smiling, that beaming smile, the whole every time they pan the camera to him, smiling. In the corner, smiling. In the middle of a war, smiling. It doesn't matter. He's gonna take him out.
I was like, oh, I'm like, you don't want to get Canelo angry, but then he could do whatever he wanted for real, bro. I'm like, there was nothing gonna change what was happening, bro. I'm like, it was just looking like Canelo was too slow for him, for real, bro. Just not able to catch him. The shots were coming off too slow. No combinations. Crawford had hit him 3 times before he'd even be able to get one off. So, it was crazy. One thing I do want to say, I'm like, Dana, for all that talk about boxing pacing, oh, it takes so long, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm going to come in and make boxing amazing. Dana's going to make boxing like the NBA. I'm like, this seemed like any other boxing event, if I'm being real, where I'm like, each fight took forever to get going. I'm like, it was 5 hours and only 4 fights. I'm like, how is that even possible, guys? I'm like, let's get the pacing going. And so I feel like Dana, I'm like, did he even do shit for this promotion? Let's be real, bro. I'm like, the only promoting I saw was they just did commercials on UFC. I'm like, big whoop, bro.
Yeah, commercials on UFC and promoting the Ruiz this upcoming weekend for WrestlePalooza. I was like, I love professional wrestling. The fuck does that got to do with boxing right now? You know what I mean? Like I'm focused on boxing. I'm focused on this big once in a lifetime fight. When I watched Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, where their once in a lifetime fight felt different. felt different. I remember I was eating a bacon cheeseburger over my neighbor's house. I was like, brother, this is good. This is great. I watched the Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin fight 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Felt much different than this one. This fight card, this everything. By the way, John Anik, massive props.
Yeah.
Went into there on this like first time ever, and he blew the water right out. Like everything was so good from him. The commentary, the background, the history behind every single fighter and every single thing that they've done. Everything was perfect from him.
Yeah.
So major props to him. I didn't have a problem really with of course the commentary team when they're in boxing, they do a great job. When they're not in boxing and talking about a different sport, I could care less. Because Max Kellerman, for example, he'll talk about baseball, basketball, football, and I'm like, the fuck you talking about, brother? No,
fate of the universe on the line. I want Iguodala.
I want Iguodala. Like, calm down. And like my Curry jersey's right there hanging on the wall. Like, are you sure about that? Like, I mean, still, Iguodala has always been the GOAT to me, and he's always gonna be great. But no, it's the fact that we got these Andre Ward, Max Kellerman, and John Anik all talking boxing, and it felt great. But John Anik truly stood out because I felt like I was watching a UFC card, but it was boxing, and it was like it felt so good to me because I was like, earlier in the day, we get UFC Noche, which we'll get to in a moment. But like, we had who was on commentary? Cormier, was it? Cormier, Cruz, and I'm forgetting Brandon.
I can't
something.
Remember. Was it Fitz?
Brandon Fitzgerald. Yeah, Brandon Fitzgerald. Like I was like, they're great. They're great, all three of them, of course. Of course. But like John Anik is just levels ahead. So many. He's been there since UFC 155. He's done so much great work. His podcast with his twin brother is great. Shout out, his twin brother follows me on Twitter, which is so cool.
Hey.
But like, there's so much great that he does. This boxing event truly felt different for him being involved, but it still felt the same way with what we were watching. The same, like there was no big knockouts. They were like, early in the fight, like in the prelims, Brady was all spamming the chat about it. It was like, hey, it sounds like a good card and everything. I was like, I might have switched this over from UFC to that after I saw nut kicks and everything. But like I was like, after a while, I was like, I don't think so about that. But overall,
you're like, nah.
Overall, Crawford and Canelo, I thought was, of course, a 10 out of 10 fight that you could watch, and that you'll see that Crawford is truly just a pure boxer. Like everything he does, like, it hurts you. And I remember people saying, "Yeah, but it's Canelo, but it's Canelo." But I was like, so, like, all due respect, Sean Porter got rocked by Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
There's so many fighters that have been put down by Terrence, and you're gonna tell me, oh, but like Canelo's still the GOAT. If Dimitri Bivol could do it in the past couple of years, then Terrence Crawford was able to do it that night in Las Vegas in front of the whole world. Which I'm shocked they didn't do at the Sphere, but I can understand because the Sphere is so small that you don't want to do this big old event of a once in a lifetime fight when you're only going to get like 8,000 fans in there. They wanted the whole thing packed to the brim. But of course, great fight. Great, ending was perfect for me because of course I wanted Crawford to win. I predicted on verdict that Crawford was going to win with a final round knockout. He didn't. Even though he looked so good.
It was close, low key. I'm like, I feel like if he wanted to, he might have been able to, dude. I feel like he was like, okay, I've clearly won. Let me just make it clear, but not go for a knockout. But I feel like if he really put it on him, like I was like afraid I'm about to see Canelo be slept, bro, because I'm a Canelo fan, but I like Crawford too. So I was like, this is just crazy to see, bro. I'm like, I remember seeing Crawford at the lower weights and watching Canelo at the same time. No way am I thinking these guys are going to fight. But I was like, both these guys are so damn good. And the fact that they're able to fight and Crawford was able to look that good and look pretty much the same size. I mean, a little smaller, but pretty similar. So I'm like, he's filling out well. I'm interested to see what's he going to do next for Crawford. Is he going to stay up or is he going to go back down all the way? Maybe meet in the middle because he went up like 2 or 3 weight classes. So maybe there's a little middle space for him to get some more belts, become undisputed at yet another weight division. So, I mean, the future's bright for Crawford. He's now going to be the A side in pretty much every negotiation he's in after that.
Of course. And they wanted him to fight David Benavidez. I don't know if that fight can come.
That would be wild. I mean, the size might be a little bit different on that one, but I mean, now I believe anything. Yeah.
Exactly. And like And that's the thing. They kept asking him, "Are you gonna retire? Are you gonna retire?" Because his age is 37, whereas Canelo's 35, and they're even asking him, "Are you gonna retire?"
Yeah.
It felt like because their careers have lasted so long that it's gotten to a point where we're like, is this it for you guys? You guys have done everything in the sport since 2008 and below. So it's like I was 8 years old when these guys were having their big prime. I'm about to be 26 next year, and they're still gonna be kicking ass in their prime. It's like it's a wild world of boxing. Whereas of course mixed martial arts so different. A couple of knockouts can really end your career and really put you down the ring. Whereas Butterbean will do 60 fights in a row and be like, hey man, let me lose some weight. Let me go back in there and kick Jake Paul's ass. But
Heck yeah.
heading into this UFC Noche card at the Frostbank Center, of course, our picks were very, very similar, but also different towards the end. And there was so much that we thought was going to happen, but did not happen, of course. Frostbank Center, San Antonio, Texas. Good friend of ours, Sam Jelly, was there. She got a free $2,000 seat, like right at the entrance.
That is crazy.
Way, and she got to see everything from the first knockout to Dumas busted nut to freaking just the ending of the fight, ending of the event. It was just amazing card. UFC Noche 3. This was our last time that we were here. I believe was for the Morab Dwalishvili fight against Sean O'Malley, which Morab won that fight at the Sphere about a year ago. And a year later, this event was supposed to be in Guadalajara, Mexico, and it was supposed to be headlined by Alexander Volkanovski against Yair Rodriguez. The whole tease was this event will be in Mexico, and there will be a featherweight championship bout. That didn't happen because so much has happened in the featherweight division, from Movsar Evloev pulling out to Lerone Murphy having that huge flash spinning elbow knockout to Yair just not knowing where the hell he places in this whole situation. It's so much. It's so crazy. It's so different. And plus, the main event to this made it even more crazier because now we're like, if he was able to do what he did, and he's already been in this type of picture, like we could see a short reign from Volkanovski anytime. Honestly, who knows? Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but it's a situation, and the fact that Volk's been in a situation before where he's been finished. He won back the championship against Diego Lopez in a vacant title fight where Ilia Topuria was nowhere near the water. So now he's in full of water with sharks. There's Lerone Murphy, there's Evloev, there's Yair Rodriguez still, there's Lopez, there's still even more people. I am very excited for us to get into this main event. I believe this is the first prelims. I believe this is. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah. There we go. Sorry, because I mixed them up on my on my folder. I put accidentally prelims 2 and 1. I was like, wait a minute, there's a main card, dumbass. But look at that card. Look at that craziness.
Well, the Dumas one we'll get into. That one I haven't seen in a while. I don't think, if ever. Where
I just realized like something. I wanted the prelims.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I did not know that you picked Luis.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. No. Huh. I'm gonna be honest. I thought we had similar picks for that. Where's my hat?
I know. Yeah, dude. We disagreed on the co-main and the main, so that was the difference.
No, because the co-main, I was thinking veteran against rookie, but then that changed my whole perspective. Now I feel like you. I'm never gonna doubt again. I'm never gonna doubt no one ever again.
It's so hard though. I'll be like, the young guy's gonna win, and then Bobby Green will knock someone out in like 5 seconds. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, Bobby Green will always find a way to fuck with us. Or example, Alexander Hernandez. Like Hernandez, we thought, oh, Hooper's got this.
Yeah.
And then Hernandez has now.
I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson on that
one. But of course, before we get into this, let's get into the background of this card, like how this all came about. This event marked the promotion's 4th visit to San Antonio, and first since UFC on ESPN, Marlon Vera against Corey Sandhagen in March of 2023. It's the 3rd annual, of course, Noche event commemorating Mexican and Hispanic Independence Day. Salvadorians and Mexicans all united for that day, and I'm a Salvadorian myself, so of course I was very glad that he finally mentioned that, because that's what Noche is. It's not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's not only just for Mexicans. It's the Independence Day of the Latin community, and Hispanics are right there in there. You know what I mean? So like, we should be right there talked about. The card was really just expected to take place in Guadalajara, Mexico, and served as UFC 320, but it was moved to San Antonio and shifted to a fight night event due to the construction of Arena Guadalajara being stalled. A featherweight bout, of course, between Diego Lopez and Gene Silva headlined this event. Rob Font was originally scheduled to fight Raul Rosas Jr., which would have been, I think, a much different situation. But
Yeah,
instead,
honestly.
he was replaced by David Martinez, who, wow. And Martinez was originally expected to face Carlos Vera at this event before the latter withdrew and was replaced by Quang Lee. Following Martinez's reassignment to the co-main event, Lee was matched with promotional newcomer Santiago Luna, which, what an opener for that was.
Yeah.
That was not. I was about to text you like I think I fucked up, and then when we saw the ending, I was like, I didn't fuck up. Like that
Yeah,
was just
so
so nuts. But of course, there was so many great fights. But there was one moment that we will get into as well. It's Kelvin Gastelum missing weight
yeah, by
and
a lot.
by a lot, by
At
6 pounds.
185. I'm like, dang, dude. 185. This used to be your
We got a
chubby
hello
weight.
from John. Exactly, we
What's
got a
up,
hello from John.
John?
What's up, John?
Thanks for tuning in.
But thank you so much. Of course, David Martinez don't even got a Wikipedia page. That's how much of a newcomer he is. Like,
Yeah,
this is
dude.
crazy world, you know what I mean? Well,
Crazy.
heading into the opener for this welterweight action, the Ultimate Fighter 33 welterweight tournament finale between Daniil Donchenko and Rodrigo Cesario. I have not watched the Ultimate Fighter. Just like how the last time we saw one of these Ultimate Fighter finale fights, I
Yeah.
didn't know who to pick, and then when we saw what happened, we were like, oh, maybe we should have watched the season. And I still
Yeah.
didn't watch the season.
I think
still
I
didn't
saw
watch
these
it.
guys, but I definitely didn't watch the whole season. I think I saw these guys first fight, but that was it. Then I was like, got distracted with something else, and then I was like, shit. Now I'm way behind.
Yeah. So this opener between Daniil and Rodrigo, just a one-sided kicking from of course Daniil, and just I've never seen him fight before. This is my first time seeing him fight. I got him mistaken for Dusko Todorovic in a featured prelim because the names are so very similar. Bro. I was
Yeah.
like Daniil Dusko. I was like, all right, there's something. They have to be twins or something. That's on me. But of course, Daniil picks up the win, gets a huge finish, was just pounding on his opponent Rodrigo the whole way,
Yeah.
4 rounds straight of just one-sided beatings, and gets himself that Ultimate Fighter win for the finale. A UFC contract has now been signed, of course, and now he is the newest potential threat to the welterweight division for the UFC. What were your thoughts on this opener?
Yeah, I was definitely impressed. I was definitely remember both these guys from when I was watching briefly at the beginning of the season. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a good matchup. And I was definitely leaning Daniil, obviously, with my pick. And yeah, he has a lot of fan base around him already. And I think that he has a really fan-friendly style. So I see exactly why. And he showed that he's 100% the worthy winner of this season and made that one look pretty easy, like you said. So I'm interested to see what he does next. And it's always fun seeing the Ultimate Fighter guys, see what happens in their careers. Like, you never know. We've seen such a range of outcomes of them being all the way up to champions, all the way down to basically getting beat a few times and we never hear from him again. So I think this is going to be one of the guys who we hear from again for sure, because that was super impressive and definitely made himself stand out from the bunch 100%.
100%, and not only just made him stand out from the bunch, he looked so freaking scary in there.
Yeah.
Like from the very beginning, I was like, "Oh my God, no wonder I picked this guy. He looked like a beast." And I'm like, and as soon as he got in there, we saw a whole different level to him, and it was really nice to see. A very good win, of course. Here's the crazy part: we only got one performance of the night and one fight of the night. The fight of the night was the headliner. The performance of the night was the opener to the main card, which was, of course, Luna. Luna got the performance of the night bonus, and Diego Lopez as well. Of course, people know who Diego Lopez won, so we'll get into that as well. But it's crazy that that was the only performance of the night bonus, considering we got a huge third round finish later on in the night. We got a huge submission at the end of the feature prelim. We got a massive opener knockout. Alexander Hernandez is still, showing himself. There's just so much that was happening, and it was like, really? You give one performance of the night bonus. What? Because all the money went to goddamn, Crawford and Canelo.
Exactly, bro.
Like
They're
they're
like
like,
100K bonus for them.
100K bonus, guys. 100K bonus. They know it's like, my pocket's not fucking full anymore.
For real,
Where's my
bro.
wallet? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
like,
hold
it's
on a
just a
minute.
slap in the face to them, for real, dude. Slap in the face.
You need a card? Hold on. You need a card? Here's my ID. Like, hold on. You need a card? You need a card? Like, I got fucking 5 different cards, man. You need a goddamn card? I can help you out here. Like, get some money to these goddamn fighters. UFC goes to like
100%.
Mexican independence. So let's treat them like how the whole world treats immigrants, and let's fucking like completely put them to the side. And I could say that. I'm a goddamn Salvadoran, goddamn it. So I can fucking I've been treated the same way as they have, so it's just always bullshit. And this is another fucking case of bullshit here. But we head into this next one. So many people got it mistaken for this women's fight.
Yeah.
Elise Pereira, they kept saying that she was Alex Pereira's sister.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. And so this fight was very, but that's the thing too. That's the thing too. She fights just like him. So it's like it was kind of like when I was watching, I'm like, she's got the same like the way that he fights and everything. No ground game whatsoever. She was very uncomfortable in there. Uh, from round one, she looked pretty clean with the striking, but Monte Rondon, her opponent, was not looking to back down whatsoever. Second round comes in, she takes it. Sorry, end of the first round, takes it down. Second round comes in, gets it down to the ground, was showing off a lot of good skills. And third round came in, and Pereira was just not looking fresh or clean or whatsoever. No punches were landing. Rendon was having herself a great fight. And in my opinion, I feel like this could have been like a unanimous decision win, but instead we got a split decision here. Montese Rendon defeats Alice Pereira, handing her first loss, I believe this is, in
Yep.
her MMA career. She was 5-0. The Golden Girl is now 5-1. I believe that's a nickname, right? I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But
Yep.
because it's so confusing because everyone literally pushed that this is Alex Pereira's sister, and I'm like, do I gotta Google this? Like, and then Daniel Cormier was corrected on the broadcast, and I was like, okay, I don't gotta Google this anymore. It's like, but it's just it's so wild. It's like John Cena's hit, keep fronting. That's what Montese Rendon was doing the whole time, fronting every single chance she gets, get the legs, take down, take down, take down. She looked beautiful in there, and of course, it made me a fan of hers. I was like, you know what? She's so gritty. She's such a dog in there. She was
Yep.
trying her best to take the back, get the choke. There was a moment where I was like, oh my God, she's gonna choke her out. I can believe in the second round, she had the choke locked in. Pereira didn't give up. They got out of the round, and the next round was, of course, the same situation with Rondon kicking Pereira's ass for 5 rounds straight, respectfully. And so, what were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I was riding with Pereira coming in undefeated, and Rendon is coming off a loss, but Rendon was not going to let that turn to a losing streak and showed the newcomer how it's done in the UFC and showed that you got to be well-rounded, got to be able to not only strike, but also have some sort of ground game, grappling. And she was able to, like you said, be gritty and grind out that win against, maybe the more quote-unquote skilled fighter on the feet maybe. But, I mean, she showed that she was the better fighter all around 100%. And, yeah, I do think that they should have been unanimous, so the split was a little interesting. It would have been good for our picks, but would have been a little wild to see. But yeah, nothing too crazy, but good underdog win for Randon.
Of course, I also see here that another fight that was supposed to be booked for the women was Raquel Pennington against Norma Demond, but that fight got canceled. I'm not sure why, but
that would have been a good one.
That would have been a good one because, of course, Pennington's background and whatnot, and of course, Norma Dumont want to go out there and get herself another big win. We did need more women's fights. We had 2 of them. So Tatiana Suarez fought Amanda Lemos later on in the night. But of course, I would like to see more like equal fights, like 5 women fights, 5 of the men fights, and then we find like a way to like get those last 2 cards because there's usually a 15 fight card, maybe 13 fight card. So we're always able to freaking find ways to make it all equal opportunities for just about the whole roster. But of course, Montese Rondon picks up that beautiful win. Alice Pereira is now 6-1, it says here. So of course, UFC debuts are never, ever, ever, the same. You can lose, you can win. And usually most of the time when you lose, people are like, oh, I don't know how that's going to be, what's gonna happen for the future. Abdul Wallace really lost in his UFC debut.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now he's the most dominant fighter in the whole UFC. There's not a single person that could stop him. Sean O'Malley tried, couldn't do it. Peter Yan tried to do it, couldn't do it. Jose Aldo tried to do it, couldn't do it. There's so many people, so many different ways that you can start your career. You could be on a big winning streak like Sean O'Malley, and now you're wondering what's your next fight. Is it Song Yadong? Is it a strip club? No one fucking knows. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, what's gonna happen next? Our next fight was between Alessandro Costa against Alden Caraya, sorry. The underdog to this, of course, Alden. We picked Alessandro Costa here, and we were very, very shocked after the result of this. But I think that's what the beautiful thing about these UFC Noche cards are, is that when you truly want it, and there's the opportunity here for this big monumental card, you're going to take it. And so we saw Alden Correa land 58% of his strikes, 77 strikes to 14 strikes of Costa. He landed 2 out of 2 takedowns, which was better, of course, the 1 and 4 that Costa put out. 42 significant strikes to 12. 2 submission attempts we saw from Costa, but none of that mattered because as soon as he got dropped right into that corner and pounded on, it was Alden's night and a big win for him. Round 3, 47 seconds in a TKO situation. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was very impressed with Alden getting that dominant win, not only getting the finish, but dominating pretty much up to the finish. So he just showed that he was levels above. And for someone who's only lost to Steve Erceg and Amir Albazi in his UFC career, to now be able to beat that guy is pretty impressive, especially coming in your first ever UFC fight as a huge underdog, able to dominate in the way he did against someone like Costa. I was very impressed and definitely going to have to, maybe pick him next time because he made us look pretty dumb with that one. Absolute dominant performance, man, especially for a UFC debut. I did not see that coming. So, man, what a performance.
Did not know. And his post-fight speech was off the roof. He was so happy. He was so ecstatic about this. He's been wanting to get this opportunity for so long, and to finally get in there and to put on a performance like that, he proved that he definitely belongs there. And it was perfect. You know what I mean? I cannot wait to see him back in there, his second fight in the UFC, and he can go back there very easily, like November, December.
Yeah.
Like those cards are very much open. Those fight nights are going to be packed in there. There's going to be big, UFC pay-per-views, whether it's MSG or whether it's the final card of the year. And I cannot wait to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, good on Alden for winning that we were wrong for back-to-back fights. And then the next one, we weren't wrong, but we weren't right.
Yeah.
So,
this one was crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Or as Rami was saying, nuts. It was nuts.
So Judike Dumas fought Zachary Reese in a fight that's been rebooked twice now. It might get booked 3 times now because he truly wants to fight Zachary Reese. But I don't know how this fight's going to turn out because this fight finally happened, fellas. It finally happened. And then it ended in, 40 seconds? What is it? It was 51 seconds.
51.
51 seconds it ended in because Zachary Reese landed a low blow for the first time around. We're like, okay, who cares? We always see those nut punches. And then the second one completely took out Dumas to where you hear from the cameras him say, "I can't feel my right ball." As a man, that's the worst fucking feeling in the world. If you ever rode a bike and you run off a very steep a hill and you landed and your balls got collateral damage on that bike seat, you feel it. You're just laying there on your back like, God, why did you do this to me? I want kids in the future. This was a situation to where you put yourself in the line of combat sports. You thinking, oh, I'm gonna get hit in the ribs, and my skin's gonna be chunked off. Whatever happens. Who knew that this fight would end in the most severe nut kick in the world, to where he had to be stretched out of there, and Zachary Reese was just pissed off. There's not really any thoughts I could give about this, really.
Yeah.
There's no what are your thoughts on this? You're gonna be like, oh, that was nuts. You know what I mean? It's just wild. It was this wild situation possible, and Now they want Dumas says, I want to fight again. I want to fight Zachary Reese again. If somebody kicked me that badly in the nuts, I'm never fighting you again. I'm moving
Yeah.
on with my life. I'm going to a different fighter. But also I feel like it's the fear that these fighters have to where if you say, oh, I don't want to fight this guy, I want to fight somebody else, they're like, yeah, but your result wasn't so good. How about we just cut you instead? You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I feel like Dumas is feeling like he's a little bit pressured in this situation to get that win, move on from the situation, and get back a little bit of that, ballsy attitude that he needs. You know what I mean? So, but like, what
Yeah,
were
it
your
was
brief
crazy, bro.
what are your brief comments about this?
I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, this must be severe. He's not getting up. Okay. And then they're like, you have time, just try to walk it off. And he's like, I can't walk, I can't get up. I'm like, what? I'm like, damn, he can't even get up. I'm like, damn, this must be bad. And then it kept going and going. I'm like, okay. I'm like, by around 3.5 minutes, I'm like, he's not getting up, bro. I'm like, this ain't
Yeah.
happening, bro. I'm like, he can't even get up to walk it off. I'm like, I'm just gonna trust him if he said it was that bad. I'm like, what am I to say, dude? I'm like, that definitely sounded bad. Maybe get a better cup or something next time, but that's pretty much some like unfortunate situation, bro. I'm like, similar to like an eye poke or something where it's like sometimes you just can't continue. I'm like, maybe he was looking for a way out. I don't know, dude. Mike, do you still get half your pay, or how does that work with the no contest? I don't know, but
I really don't know. I don't know how it works when it comes to pay and no contest with the UFC because usually we don't. Usually they kind of just say like they have to get back in there, they got to fight
yeah,
again and whatnot. So it's like we really don't know.
yeah. I'm
So
like,
I
do
feel
they get the show money but no win money or what?
I
Probably.
mean perhaps yeah, because it's like 14K short money and it's still like 14K for them is nowhere near enough. You have to pay so much to your coaches and medical costs if there are any, and then the travel, everything else is just so much for them. So of course I feel for these two fighters, it was nuts. So you know what I mean. So like I hope that we can see a rebooking where
Yeah,
it won't. Instead of go wrestling, you know what I mean. As soon as the fight starts, get that takedown in, and boom, just work the whole fight like that. Um, but next fight was between Jesus Santos Aguilar against Luis Gorola, Gurule, sorry. This was a fight where we picked different fighters here. I was able to walk away thankfully with a win.
yeah.
First time ever. You know what I mean? It felt like a couple of weeks where I'm like, damn, Max has got me so bad. Like, I'm like, damn, I'm about to show up to his house, like knocking on his door, like, hey man, what's going on here? What kind of picks you got? Who's here? Like, is Dana White here doing some matchmaking? And like firsthand, but
Exactly.
what
I got the call.
a
No, not on this one though. This one I did not get the call.
no. 85 significant strikes were landed by Aguilar, 87 in total, which shows just how many power punches he was definitely throwing in there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, his opponent Luis Gorole tried to land 5 takedowns, landed none. Same for, of course, Aguilar, 1 for 5 with his takedowns. It felt like it was just a purely you got to stand up fight. You got to go in there and you got to duke it out. And Aguilar's punches and his power is so different. We've seen him fight before, and he's just so crazy with it. As soon as he connects with those hooks, of course, it stuns the opponent, makes him walk back, circle around the octagon a couple of times, and then he goes back in there for another round of beatings. And it just happened round by round by round. It was very unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful showing, 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28 in 3 rounds for Jesus Santos Aguilar over Luis Gorole. No knockdowns were landed, but it was very significant of everything that was landed. There was no stopping Aguilar, and he's still proving himself that his flyweight division is so electric. Anyone can come in here, as long as you're a pure pro, like you have the best striking. It's gonna be a very very bad situation for the flyweight division because yeah, you could wrestle, but it's mostly gonna be just a lot of fucking strikes being thrown at your head. But like
Mm-hmm.
flyweight division, you have to be prepared for the wrestling because when you get that championship, call, when you get told, hey, you gotta fight Pantoja, you know what happens? We know what happens. Kaya Sakura knows what happens. Brandon Moreno knows what happens. So many fighters know what happens when you step to him. You cannot stop a cannibal, and it's just so hard to be able to step in there for 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, maybe even a 5 round fight. You're gonna be done for by the third round because as soon as he takes you down and lands those vicious elbows, takes you back and gets you. Aguilar showed a lot of striking, showed a lot of promise in the stand-up exchanges. Of course, the wrestling was defended perfectly well, but it's of course Luis Godole. I'm not trying to discredit him at all, and Alejandro Pantoja is championship level when it comes to it. What were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I thought that the striking would be a little bit more competitive. I was really impressed with Aguilar's ability to mix it up and, like you were saying, outstrike him and outpace him the entire fight. It was pretty much the same thing every round where he was able to get what he wanted, and I was really impressed with someone that I was thinking, has only had one finish. It was a crazy finish. Well, he had a really quick knockout, but that is his only knockout in his whole career. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, if Gorelli can not get knocked out, I think that we'd be okay. And he had never lost a decision until now. So this is his first ever decision loss. Only I believe, only his second loss ever. So not a lot of data on the loss. So maybe I should have taken that into account. And it's just crazy, man. Jesus is showing that he kind of wobbled a little bit when he first came back, and ever since has been looking much, much better. He had his last fight against Rafael Esteban, which he lost, but Esteban is a really promising prospect. We saw him come back and get another win after that, so no shame in losing there. So like you're saying, Jesus is, hey, we've seen him have some losses, but he's showing that even though he's really small, thankfully we have the division that's perfect for him. So, he could become even better as he goes, because he keeps improving. He was kind of one-dimensional. Then we saw him get the crazy knockout and continue to improve the striking as he goes on in his career. So definitely got to keep an eye on him.
Definitely got to keep an eye on him. Of course, I had to help my earphones out because I was like, I felt like they kept slipping out. So, but you're completely right about that. Jesus was having himself a great showing, and of course, it's something. Research is always fun to do with these fights, but it's always so fucked too because like we'll do all this great research, we're like, yeah, we got this, and then we watch the fight, and then like a 1 second knockout happens. We're like, wow, so what the fuck was I doing research for? All these notes stacked up, like, oh, this is what he can do. This is the type of style he knows. The fight, like where he trains at, who he knows, the people he's been, sparring with, all that stuff. And then he goes out there and it just gets like completely like, mollywop, one-sided beating up. But of course, Aguilar takes that win. Thank the heavens that I got that.
Rami takes that one.
You know what I mean? Thank God. But our next fight is somebody that I will never, ever, ever doubt, no matter who she's against, except for maybe if it's Zhang Weili.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, maybe one person.
Maybe one person, because we saw it. But Tatiana Alvarez, who comes from Rancho Cucamonga, California, which is just like really like 30, 40 minutes from me. Rancho Cucamonga is home of the greats. If you know about the tag team, the Young Bucks, that's where they were born and raised. Absolute great, one of the greatest tag teams of professional wrestling history. I think the greatest tag team in professional wrestling history. Apparently, we got some people saying cheap viewers to get on streamboo.com. Remove the space. We don't need cheap viewers, pal. People actually genuinely want to watch us, pal. But Amanda Lemos was our opponent. Two fighters who have been through it all. They've been through it all. Especially considering that they were both on the Ultimate Fighter for Team Joanna versus Team Claudia. They were, of course, originally scheduled to meet at UFC 298 in February, but Suarez withdrew from the fight due to an injury. She comes back into this one. We're still seeing Tatiana get back into the groove that she used to be in, of course, and she's still showing a lot of great signs. Tatiana Suarez started off this first round with a lot of calf kicks and was trying to work around the wrestling. She finally landed that big takedown towards the end of the fight, towards the end of the first round. Second round, her coaches advised her to still try to do the same thing, push heavy into the corner. Lemos got frustrated when she finally got off him on the ground. She wanted to land those body kicks, but it was really nothing. She tried to even use the cage, of course, as leverage to be able to slip herself out of those takedowns. But Tatiana Suarez is so freaking different. They used to call her, and they still call her, the female Khabib. Because if she gets a grip on you, she's gonna drag you down and she's gonna put you through hell. And that's what we definitely saw for those few exchanges, but it was definitely a very close fight. I feel it was no split decision, but it was definitely a close fight to where if Lemos lands a knockdown in second or third round, it definitely goes right to her because Suarez's wrestling is good, but it wasn't landing the damaging strikes that we usually see
Yeah.
from her, or where she takes a choke, she gets the opponent, she gets a submission, and then it was a good day, as Ice Cube says. But it was a very, very just close wrestling type of exchanges. She landed them. She got the decision, unanimous decision win. But it was more so about just seeing how she survived. She
Yeah.
survived that fight. If it was a 5-round fight, we don't know how it would have ended up because their cardio. I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but of course it looked like they took a lot of cardio out of the system for that 3-round fight. 15 minutes in there. So of course, Tatiana Suarez picks up the big unanimous decision win over Amanda Lemos, continues working her way up to this division to where she used to be undefeated. She took a couple of years off from the sport due to having to get surgery, and there's so much that was going on with her. Like she went from 2018 and 2019, she fought Nina Ansaroff in Chicago, Illinois at UFC 238, which was headlined by Cejudo and Moraes for the vacant championship, and Shevchenko versus Jessica Iowa. We saw that crazy head kick knockout. The next time she fought was against Montana De La Rosa in 2023. She defeated Jessica Andrade by guillotine submission, back-to-back guillotine submissions. She fought Zhang Weili, lost, and now she fought Amanda Lemos a couple of months later, and she gets to put on she got to get that back into the win column after the Zhang Weili fight. I truly believe, of course, it'll take her one, maybe two more fights to get back into that picture. The women's strawweight division is so good. And what were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I was honestly having a tough time deciding who to go with. I felt like this is a crossroad for Tatiana. Is she going to bounce back from her first ever loss? She was so close to reaching that ultimate goal of the championship that she's been working for so long. Came back from so much adversity and was so close, but she ran into one of the best to ever do it in Weili Zhang. So the fact that Zhang is possibly moving up in weight, if I'm not mistaken, right? So they're fighting for her vacant title soon. So I don't see why.
Berna Jandiroba and Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah. So I don't see why not just throw Tatiana in there. I mean, she's only lost to Zhang, which no one else was able to beat either. So screw it. Throw her in immediately because she's 34 years old. Probably still has some left in the tank, but you never know with how she's had some injuries in the past. Knock on wood. Don't want that to happen again. And I want to see her fight as much as she can before Father Time is undefeated. But yeah, I was wondering because we've seen Lemos come in and send people back and have some upsets, but this time it was not to be. She put up a decent fight, but like you said, the wrestling was just too much. And Suarez was able to bounce back and probably get herself right back in that title picture because now they're going to have a new champion very soon. So now the division is wide open now that Zhang has released her iron fist on it because she was rolling over there for a while.
Truly, and not only was she ruling it, the only loss she suffered was to Rose Namajunas, and then she got back in there, and then she destroyed Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice, retired her, and then she fought Carla Esparza and destroyed her, and it was just like, wow, who was gonna take the title off of her? No one could. Jan Zanaunen couldn't. Tatiana Suarez couldn't. There were so many opponents who just couldn't stop her. She's had 3 defenses so far and a 5-fight winning streak, which is a shocker. I'm not trying to say I'm discrediting at all, but with the division that has Tatiana Suarez, Verna Jandiroba, Yana Zanaunen, Mackenzie Dern, Lupe Godinez, Tabitha Ritchie. There's so many different fighters and so many different styles that any of them can get up into that top 5 and try to fight for the championship. But of course, we see that Zhang Weili is just too much to handle. Tatiana Suarez and Verna Jandiroba are tied for first place. Of course, Verna has the better record of 22-3, whereas Tatiana Suarez is 11-1 because of the years off that she spent. I believe that she was still, of course, active since 2019 till now. She would have been in the 20 range already by the time because she takes so many fights and she wants so many opponents, of course. But Verna Jandiroba, She recently defeated UFC 314 Jan Zanaunen. Now her next fight would be UFC 321 against Mackenzie Dern for the official undisputed championship. There's not many other fighters that are, of course, booked for anything. Aisman Lucene, though, she's booked for her next fight against Jillian Robertson. And then after that, Angela Hill will fight Fatima Klein. After losing to Lucendo, Luma Lokbuni will fight Alex Tornada. Her next fight that would be at UFC Fight Night 260, which is in actually it's at the upcoming card, September 28th. That's where Loma Lukbuni will be fighting, who's on a 4-fight win streak so far, and she's even another name that has been building herself up. Loma Lukbuni, she can get up to her and Verna Jandaroba are two fighters that are just, in my opinion, two fighters that could win the championship very easily. But Tatiana Suarez, she's still there. She's still trying to prove herself. It's just that when it comes to her next fight, I feel that the cardio and like endurance is definitely be something that they have to fully focus on if it comes to a 5-round fight. Because her next fight could very well be a headliner for a fight night. She could fight Jan Zanaunen, she could fight Lupi Godinez, she could fight Lucendo. There's so many opponents there, right, in that top 10 that are open for fights that could be, easily Tatiana Suarez opponents and can keep building up her streak. Or we could see a new contender rise up from that. But good on her. Next fight in the lightweight division, it was Joaquin Silva and Claudio Morales. And I said this beforehand, and I say it again. Why the fuck did I pick Claudio? I mean, all the respect to him, but I saw his fight with Dan Hooker. I've seen him fight. If he doesn't get the takedowns, he shuts down completely. He's that type of fighter, and that was what we saw this weekend. And that's what we saw with his fight between him and Silva. He was landing some good moments, and then it started, who's ringing my phone, as Drake says in Nokia. And it was just a bunch of ringing in his head for Morales. Silva takes that big, those big shots. And then when we head into the stats, of course, before we get into the rankings and whatnot, so Joaquin Silva landed 95 to 58 strikes. Of course, Morales, he landed one knockdown, which was very, very important in that third round. That immediately commentary and judges knew that's it. 25 significant strikes to 21. 4 out of 16 takedowns for Morales. 4 out of 16. If you weren't able to keep them down for those other times, buddy, then I feel like you got to just think of a new strategy. In my opinion, why doesn't he just go try a UFC BJJ? You know what I mean? Like this, they opened up a whole new brand for these guys. Go and do that. Like if you can't strike, then just go and
probably
go
the better option. Here. Yeah.
Honest to God, it really is. And so in the end, we saw, of course, Morales lose once again to, now this time, the Joaquin Silva. Both guys are unranked. Both guys are not even near that ranking, of course. But because number 15 is Mauricio Ruffi, Grant Dawson, Benoit Saint Denis, Michael Chandler, Renato Moicano, and Rafael Fasib. From what we've seen, Fasib has won. Moicano lost to Darush. Chandler lost to Paddy Pimblett. Benoit won over Mauricio Ruffi. Mauricio Ruffi is number 15 ranked, and Grant Dawson defeated Carlos Diego Pereira. This was a type of fight where I was like, I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't want to believe it because I felt like Morales was going to pull himself out of the dirt and, try to like do something different, do something big. And that wasn't the case. It feels like he's the same fighter every single time. It's funny too because he's young. He's got the wrestling, but he fights like BJ Penn in his final years. Like he just does not know what to do out there. He's just looking around like, guys, I think my mom's like an alien. I think my family's like spying on me and trying to take my inheritance. Like, fuck are you on about, dude? Like, so Morales, it's another situation where we're like, wow, happened again. Why do we pick him? But like, what were your thoughts on this one?
I mean, hey, it was a split decision, so at least one of the judges thought he won. But
hey, he's at 2 now. He's at 2 now. Come on.
So exactly, the one judge is helping us out, but we couldn't get them all on our side, unfortunately. But yeah, Claudio started out good, decent round 1, but yeah, after that he wasn't able to keep him down and wasn't able to control him as much as he needed to get the win. And yeah, it's crazy how he's only 29 for how long he's been around, but yeah, it's not looking good in his last few fights. Yeah, I was like you said, I was hoping he would turn it around here and send Silva back with a loss, but unfortunately for us, we picked wrong. But fortunately for Silva, put on a solid performance, bounce back after that tough round 1, and took over from there.
Took over from there. It's the last 3 fights for Perales have ended all in defeat. TKO body kick, split decision against Frasiam, and then now against Joaquim Silva. His last win was in 2022 over Clay Guida.
Yeah, which
Come on, man.
it was probably around, I don't know, 38 at the time.
You know what I mean? And like Drakkar Close defeated, of course, Joaquim Silva. Joaquim Silva defeated Clay Guida prior to that, which is funny though. Like, if you thought
Clay
about
Guida
it,
getting bullied.
Like Clay Guida was the last win for both these guys heading into this one, but it came in 2023 for Silva, and then for the other hand, it came in 2022.
That is
Arnold
wild.
Circuit had finished him. Jesse Ronson was a opponent for Joaquim Silva to finish. Ricky Glenn and Nasrat Hakpras defeated Joaquim Silva. It's been a weird road for him.
Yeah,
for
for
him to
both
bounce
guys,
back,
really. Yeah.
Yeah, so for him to bounce back in this situation it's good on his corner, but it's also what happens next. Because if you show those signs of like endurance and you show those signs of like takedown defense and you're able to get out of those situations, then the sky might be up for you. But of course, if you find an opponent that can just keep you down there and just brutalize you, then Silva's just gonna end up in another situation where it's another loss streak, and then it's another situation where he's like, oh, what happens next? Our next fight, the featured prelim. By the way, we got put out wrong on there. We should not have picked them. We should not have picked them. I feel like that would have probably made me be tied with you on the main card.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have.
Hey, hindsight's 2020.
Fucking bastards.
We live and we learn. We live and we learn. Perfect card next week, guys.
We live and we learn. We live and learn. Never trust Peruvians. But anyway, but Dusko Todorovic fought Jose Medina, and this did not last long, and it was so beautiful from Dusko Todorovic. As soon as he got the grip on the neck, he was able to end this fight beautifully. He landed 27 strikes to, of course, the 13 strikes of Medina. Medina was just not looking good in there. It was a situation where once you get pressured against the cage with those clinch work and clinch knees, you're not going to be able to have a lot of fun. 2 takedowns were landed, 1 submission attempt, and that was all it was needed for Dusko to take the win, take the neck, get the tap, and once again, have a big win on his column. Sadly, it was not enough for him to get a performance and life bonus because all of it went to boxing, apparently. But of course, Dusko Todorovic picks up a big win here in the feature prelim. First round finish. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, both guys really, really needed a win coming into this. So this was honestly kind of I was definitely always leaning Dusko, but I was like, hey, Medina, you never know. I'm like, neither of these guys had looked good, honestly. They've had some tough matchups, to say the least, 100%. So they definitely have not had an easy route in the UFC, but Dusko definitely showed that he's the better one and probably is the one that deserves to stay around. Medina, honestly, this is kind of wild. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen this. Loses the Contender Series, gets signed, loses his next fight, loses his next fight, loses his next fight. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy has not won a fight while being associated with the UFC. So I'm a little worried. Maybe he needs to go back to the regional scene, get his rhythm back. We've seen that time and time again. If you go back to the regional scene, you can work your way back into the UFC without having to get knocked out over and over again, finished, choked out by the guys that are unfortunately a few levels above. And yeah, I think that maybe that's time for Medina. But as for Dusko, huge bounce back, much needed, coming off a 3-loss losing streak, was able to bounce back. And yeah, it was a pretty light matchup where both these guys, it was like, all right, which one of you guys is going to stay in the UFC? I feel like that's what this fight was for. And Todorovic is the one that's going to stick around, it looks like. So yeah, he showed that sometimes he's able to get to finish. He's not the only one getting finished. So shout out to him.
Exactly. And that's a weird, because like usually Dana White on the Dana White Contender Series, yeah, that was a good fight. You won that by decision, but we're not signing you. We need people who finish fights. And then he signs Jose Medina, who loses his fight and
Yeah,
continues to lose his fights. Like, what kind of like
logic.
information they got on you? You know what I mean? What
Yeah,
kind of information they got
yeah,
on you? But is the FBI listening on every call? Like, come on now.
yeah.
Um, but and that was the end of our prelims. If you were watching ESPN Plus, of course, it's not been bad. A lot of people were like, "Oh, the ESPN, the ESPN New Plus or direct consumer app or whatever. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, it's so this and that." I'm like, where are you living in the boondocks? Like, all the respect or anything like that. Like I can understand if you have like frontier, internet and like in the West Coast and it fucking sucks. But I got
Mhm.
Spectrum, pal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking great. I could have like 5 TVs on, all streaming the same thing, and it'll be perfectly fine. ESPN's perfectly fine for me. I'm
Yeah,
not trying to dick ride them here and get a sponsorship or anything, but unless they want to. But I'm like I'm saying, like, simply, like, it's just there's just no way for people to be like, oh man, yeah, I don't know how, like, WWE WrestlePalooza is gonna be this weekend.
yeah.
Are you fucking dumb? Are you dense? Like, did you wake up in the morning and say I can't take a shower and stick your head in the toilet? Like, come on now. Like, this just makes no fucking sense here. But good app, good stream, good show. Like this UFC card was like very very fun.
Yeah, great
If,
card.
if anyone tells me I didn't really enjoy it, I'm like, oh why? Oh, because the main event didn't end the way I wanted it to. Neither did it end for me. It didn't end for me all perfectly, but you don't see me all bitching, complaining, and everything. Like, man, that's the reason why I don't like Diego Lopez. Like, who fucking cares? Diego Lopez is a goddamn boss. Like, that's the
Yeah.
reason why they signed him. That's the reason why so many people are pushing for him. That haircut gives him so much freaking like aura and everything. Like that. Like
So
I rather watch
mustache,
him.
added the
Bro,
mustache.
that's what I'm saying. Like that mustache. I once I saw a mustache, I was like, I should have picked him. That's it. The
Bro,
stash.
it's a
It's the
power up.
goddamn stash. It's like Josh Peck. You know what I mean? Drake and Josh when he grew the mustache on his face
Yeah.
and everything. Like he thought he was the coolest motherfucker in the school, and he probably was. But who cares? But like, um, heading into of course the main card, um, of course craziness from start to finish. There's so many different, of course, endings, so many different stories that we had into every single fight. But I did want to mention one thing, and it's before we do get into the. So I'm not here to get political or anything like that, but it has something to do with like last week's events. I'm not going to mention by name who got shot in the neck, but of course it's a lot of people I've seen on social media block me. Not like so. MMA Gone Wild, that page, I thought they were cool. And then they blocked me, and I was like, oh, why was that? And I go to the following, and the first person the following was the person who got shot in the neck. So I'm like, oh, of course, they'd be, dicking them down in the fucking throat and everything, taking all that fucking load and everything. But another thing that got me so confused was there was so many like people I follow at UFC mutuals, not even like UFC fighters, but like people I've seen who are big fanatics of this stuff. Male, female, doesn't fucking matter, both of them. And there was one post that I saw that I was like, wow, of all people to be sharing this, is somebody from the UK. Like, how does the UK get themselves so, like, example, the UK, Canada, anything overseas. How do you guys get yourself so involved with American politics and you're like, damn, that guy was such a good person? Him saying that if his daughter was sexually assaulted at the age of 10 and got pregnant, he'd force her to have a kid. Man, might as well let her fucking do it. Let him fucking do it. Like, really? And then,
Yeah.
like, oh, they're like, man, the post was this. Why did we support George Floyd when he's a fentanyl drug dealer? And why aren't we talking and praising more about the guy who got shot in the neck?
Yeah.
What kind of what kind of stuff is
I'm
that? Like,
like, I
real,
feel
like,
like both things are bad. I don't know why we're bringing up other stuff. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm like, come on, people.
like, like,
I'm like, there's shitty stuff happening every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is
like
nothing new. This is nothing
the
new. This
fact,
happens daily.
yeah,
That's the fucked
yeah,
up part.
the fact that example, there's so many school shootings that happen in this world already.
Yeah,
There's
it's
so many,
fucked up.
there's so much gun violence that happens, and for somebody to say we need this stuff to happen, and then they get shot and killed, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to be like, oh wow, good person, right? Not really, because it's like me saying, man, I promote nuking the world. I promote tactical nukes. I promote we should EMP the entire world. And then Saturday comes, huge UFC card. I'm like, damn, this is gonna be so perfect, guys, right? And then we get hit with the EMP. Everyone's gonna come to my house like it's a Simpsons movie and burn me down. Like, you know what I mean? Homer got fucked over
Homer,
because
yeah.
Homer put a goddamn what was that? A septic tank, and then
Yes,
he
the
put it into
septic
the
tank.
water. He put it in the water. It killed everybody. He had a whole globe and everything. That's what happened. That's what this
I
fucker
love
did.
that
And all of a
movie.
sudden, phenomenal. Green Day opening up the movie was so fucking phenomenal. Like, but that's the fact though. I'm glad that people are establishing that guns are bad and people getting shot is bad. But for it to happen for a white person, all due respect to white people, and for them to be like, oh, we need to care more about that. We need to care more about this because, oh, words shouldn't equal violence. Words have equal violence for so many people that are not Republicans, that are not white. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's
Like
like all across the
Breonna,
world, bro. It's like for
Breonna,
real, bro.
Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Matt, I go, you know what I mean? I can go on for
Yeah,
days about
it's
all the
like
freaking people that got killed. George Zimmerman was set free. Derek Chauvin was fought for. Everyone was like, "Oh, who cares what he did? I would have done the same thing too." Like that's some
yeah,
fucking crazy shit to even say. And then this situation happens, and like, man, that's so horrible. I have never seen something like that. That made me sick to my stomach. The whole, shot in the neck and the whole graphic thing. Are you guys sure? Because I remember being in middle school and motherfuckers be showing me like those freaking videos of beheadings, and
yeah.
like that's the thing too. I saw like yesterday during the Raiders game. Did you watch the Raiders Chargers game?
No. I was
So during the
watching The
Raiders game,
Conjuring.
oh, the new one.
Yeah, it's pretty
So I've
solid.
heard great things about it.
Yeah, I
I've heard
like it.
great things about it. Is it a 10 out of 10 ending?
The ending. I won't say much about the ending, but I thought it was pretty solid.
So it
Overall,
was a
maybe
perfect
7
ending
out
to
of
the
10.
franchise.
7 out of
Was it
10.
a perfect ending for a franchise?
I didn't even feel like an ending really, but I'm like, I felt like that incoming new series is coming. Is what I'm thinking.
Oh my God, not this. They gotta stop. I mean, if I could get more Vera Farmiga, I'll be happy. But like, they gotta stop trying to torture her in these movies, pal.
For real, bro. I'm
But
like, yeah, I feel like they're running out of real cases, so I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
yeah,
But
the nuns no longer trying to fuck with these people. But like, so, but in the end, what my whole point is that I'm glad that we've established that guns are bad. But it's so crazy that now they're trying to spin it as like trans people are domestic terrorists. Like,
yeah,
wow, really? That's the whole case now? Like, you guys can't
yeah.
just accept defeat. You guys can't just say, hey, we fucked up here. We voted the wrong person here. And like, here's also the worst part. You know the band 3 Days Grace?
Wait, what'd you say?
Do you know the band 3 Days Grace?
Vaguely, yeah.
So the lead singer Adam Gontier commented on it saying like how people need to respect Charlie Kirk more and everything like that. Here's what shocked me about this. You're Canadian. The fuck do you got to do with this? Like, I'm tired of Canadians entering this conversation already. You overseas, stop it. Canadians, stop it. If you're not in the United States, all due respect, fucking stop. Because really, you don't vote for any of this stuff. You didn't vote for Trump. You didn't vote for Kamala. You didn't vote for any of these people. So when you chime in, you're like, man, yeah, this is what I would have done. You would have poured maple syrup on your goddamn pancakes, and you would have said, man, I love Tim Hortons. That's all you would have been doing, pal. So just step out of this.
For real, but I'm like,
Um,
especially when this type of shit is only happening in America predominantly. It's like there's some other countries that have gun problems as well, but I'm like, bro,
mhm.
we clearly have a very big one, and just overall violence problem. I'm like, bro, this is just not the way to do it. Not the way to solve problems.
So like
All the way up from the top, from the bottom to the top, especially at the top. Maybe we need to work on actually
exactly,
solving problems. And
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? That affects these people. All people. You know what I'm saying? It's like all people, not just one person. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah,
come on. All issues that affect one, it's like, okay, we agree that's an issue. Let's also look at this issue as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't
exactly,
just look at one side.
exactly.
So yeah,
And
it's a
and then when you
crazy
bring it up,
situation for real.
And then when you bring it up, they have those racist remarks towards like black people. And we're like, okay, so you just care about white people. That's how we've established it. Like
Yeah,
as
it's
soon
like
as anything gets brought up, they're like, let's bring up all side of racism. But that's most likely the MMA community because of a lot of people did not like me for that. That's most likely a lot of people in Memphis because I got blocked by some ring announcer in Memphis wrestling. Whoever the fuck you are, pal, you're a bitch. So like you know what I mean? Like I don't fucking care. I'm never gonna go to Memphis and never fucking do. I'm gonna fucking just I don't know, go to fucking what's that place called? Dave's Hot Chicken? Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna go there. Dave's Hot Chicken. I feel like that's a good
yeah, bro.
place.
It's like
Um
I'm like, it's like yeah, I'm like more love, less divisiveness. Literally, bro. I'm like, come on. And it's like, I'm like people. I'm like focus on like it's like what if anything? So much of this stuff is so unproductive. I'm like, what is this helping anything? You know what I'm saying? So
It really is, and but of course, our what do you call it? Politic prelim talk is you know what I mean? Like that was a bit good. I'm glad because I know there are people who are watching this that are like, "Man, you know, I don't give a fuck about this stuff. Fuck you. We don't need your viewership if you're thinking that you know only one side matters and not the other side as well, then you're a fucking dipshit. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, 311 viewers here. Thank you so much to everybody who's been tuning in so far. Heading into the main card now. After I won that, I would get my hat, but it's over there. But it's okay. So like
and I had a nice little comeback. Here we go. You won the prelims.
exactly. I won the prelims, but of course, as soon as they said desserts here, you finished up that whole platter. Like that was it for you. We had a good start, and then of course things took rapidly down for me. I was thinking so hard that okay, I'll lose the co-main, I'll get the main event, and then we'll see what happens there. That was not the case here. God was like, we don't fuck with you, pal. So heading into this opener, very, very, very nerve-wracking, of course. Quang Lei against Santiago Luna, the newcomer Santiago Luna, and as soon as the fight starts, Quang Lei's like landing these huge, huge blows that were knocking him back. The crowd was going, crazy. It was frantic. Everyone was thinking, "Oh no, Luna's not going to be able to do something." And then out of the blue, rocks his opponent, lands a big shot, lands a couple more, and then lands that huge knockout blow that knocks Lay down to his back, gets him finished. End of the fight. Santiago Luna took him 2 minutes and 48 seconds in the first round to get this huge win in his UFC debut against somebody who's not been stopped. This guy, they kept praising him the whole time. His entrance, the introductions, and even as soon as the fight started, they're like, Quang Lee is gonna come in here and he's gonna destroy everybody in his path. He's the next championship contender, basically. I'm like, damn, they're really just being biased one-sided here. Fuck it. And that was not the case here. Santiago Luna picks up a huge win, knockout win, opener of the fight, gets himself a performance of the night bonus as well at UFC Noche. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, huge win. I'm glad we picked him. I was thinking this is a tough matchup coming in, but he passed it with flying colors. Could not get much better than that. Is the second man to knock him out and did it much faster than the first guy. And wow, what a performance for first UFC debut. We've had some good debuts in this card, so it looks like we have some new prospects we're gonna have to keep an eye on. Luna especially gonna be one of them. Definitely a super entertaining fighter, and only 21 years old, so one of the youngest guys in the entire UFC at this point, and he's able to go out there and get a finish that easily is just crazy to even think about. So sky's the limit, to say the least. Or yeah, I mean, Luna for real, dude. It's like all the way to the top.
All the way. His post-fight speech was so impactful and everything. Just the way that he carries himself is just amazing. But here's the thing that I always say is so funny is that whenever we see like a UFC fighter knock somebody out, they always say the same thing. And I kept calling. I was like, "Oh, the most important I want to thank is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." It's like I love that they always thank Jesus in this or God because it's like I can picture God and Jesus watching that and being like, we didn't fucking support this. Like we're all about peace. Like Jesus, like I got crucified for UFC UFC? Like, come on, like it's like the funniest thing in the world because I'm like, I understand where they're coming from, but it's like they're like, yeah, I just put that dude unconscious in front of his family. Thank you, Jesus, for what you do for me. Like, okay, like that's just, it's insane. It's an insane world. But in this sport, everybody wants to rule the world, as Tears for Fears used to say, and like it's all about getting that big blow. And Santiago Luna got it, gets himself that big win, performance of night bonus, and it's great. Our next fight, the returning Alexander Hernandez, who he's been so goddamn active. I swear on my life, this guy, I don't think that there's any stoppage for him. Alexander Hernandez has already, of course, picked up a big win. He's already picked up 3 big wins now in 2025. Kurt Hollabaugh, of course, he defeated in March, and by decision. He knocked out Chase Hooper in the first round at the last second, and then now Carlos Diego Ferreira is the newest opponent of his victim watch, to where he landed a big knockdown, got those upcoming blows, and that was the end of the fight. Huge win for Alexander Hernandez in the second round, 3 minutes and 46 seconds into it. Another big one. Another big night for him. Sadly, no performance. He should be getting performance night bonuses. This guy should be racking up money.
Yeah,
He
for
should be
real.
like Money Moicano got built off of this. This guy right here, he's destroyed back-to-back opponents in shocking ways, and we're like, come on, we're not going to give him a bonus. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, coming off that Chase Hooper knockout, I knew I had to back him up, and because we picked Hooper last time, and or at least I did. I can't remember. Yeah, so we definitely picked wrong on that one, and I'm like, okay, so this guy's clearly locked in, clearly looking more dangerous than ever. And now he's won 4 in a row and back-to-back finishes. Huge. And coming off only 1 month of rest. His last fight was August 16th. Next fight, September 13th. So less than a month in between knockouts. That doesn't get much better than that. So I'm sure he'll be back in there again soon, honestly, because didn't take much, if any, damage, really. So, get back in there relatively soon, and we might be talking about a 5-fight winning streak. And at that point, we're talking about rankings. We're talking about, potential, top 10, getting him in there. So crazy to see. We've seen Hernandez have lots of ups and downs in his career, but it seems like he's finally peaking now at the age of 32. So still some time to make a even bigger name for himself in the UFC.
Of course, and 3, 4, 5. There's 16 fights so far booked for the next week for UFC. Of course, their return to the RAC arena in Perth, Australia, which will be headlined by Carlos Ulberg and Dominic Reyes. But here's the thing, though. The lightweight fight between Tom Nolan and Evan Elder is a fight that you have to look out for. And also, the fight between Jamie Malarkey and Rolando Bedoya are also a fight that you have to look at, because if one of those fighters pull out, Hernandez is right on that flight. There's no stopping Hernandez. He will be right on that flight. He will get another fight in 2 weeks flat, and he'll go out there and try to get another big win. And I don't blame him. The guy has been on a tear recently. I love what commentary mentioned. He's taken so much patience in his power punches that when he finally lands them, he's back to how he was when he first entered the UFC. He first entered the UFC on short notice against Beneil Dariush and knocked him out. I watched that fight and I was like, Alexander the Great Hernandez, you know what I mean? And then, of course, the Great Alexander the Great nickname went, of course, to Volkanovski after Hernandez got sunned by Donald Cerrone. But Cerrone's not here anymore. Hernandez has been working his way up ever since that day, and he's been proving himself that he loves himself, the violence. He is no pet shop boy. There are no West End girls around this area. Like he's gonna definitely go and put on some performance and some magic. So good on Alexander Hernandez, keep himself active and get himself those wins. That's 3 wins here in 2025. He does another one. I want to put it past him to go to November or December to get one more fight to get that 5-fight win streak all in the span of a year. That would be massive. Our next fight, catchweight, 191 pounds, because Kelvin Gastelum mixed weight by 5-6 pounds. Against Dustin Stolfus. This was a very weird fight at first. Because the first round, it looked like Dustin was going to win easily because of the body kicks. And I love what Daniel Cormier kept saying, I'm a big man too. As soon as you get hit in that body, it starts shutting down slowly by slowly. And Kelvin was looking tired, but then Kelvin started landing those big blows. and getting of course Dustin against the cage, landing some big shots and whatnot. And round by round, it was of course staying so close, but of course Kelvin was the one who was able to land the big shot, land those big blows. He got a knockdown, of course. He landed 58 strikes to 69, which of course Dustin had more than 57 significant to 64 significant. 1 for 6 takedowns from Dustin, who who only able to get Kelvin to the ground once, but was not able to, those other 5 times. In the end, Gaslam wins. It was a weird, like bittersweet win as well, because of course he missed weight by 5 pounds. The UFC didn't want to even interview him. Daniel Cormier said like yesterday that I did not want to interview the guy that I would have felt bad if I didn't, but what we wanted to shun him for missing weight for 5-6 pounds, and that would have been a crazy case. Because could you imagine if he did get a knockout and they're like, yeah, we don't want to interview you, and then Tuesday comes and you get cut by the UFC, like that would have been just crazy. Like the whole UFC blackballs you from commentary to the cameras to everybody in the back, and then Dana White's like, hey man, nice win, you're cut. Like this is crazy work. I can understand being disappointed. I can't understand blackballing somebody like that, because there's been situations where many people have missed weight and they've still got interviewed. So like, I'm not gonna go and be like, I'm gonna be like one side on one side and one side on the other. I remember a situation where someone missed weight by 11 pounds. They still got an interview. 11 fucking pounds. Who the fuck misses weight by like Hamza Chimaev? He missed weight by like almost like 9-10 pounds. You still got an interview after he choked out Kevin Holland. Like, so they really got to think about themselves. But of course, what were your thoughts on Kelvin Gastelum winning, and of course, what happens next?
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed in the missing weight, especially at this weight class. I'm like, dude, we've seen you down at 170, but you can't even make 185 anymore. This is getting a little scary. So I don't know what's going to happen next with Gastelum. I think definitely keep him around. He's just so well known in the MMA community. I think that he's more of a plus to keep around, even if he is, missing weight, because at least the fight didn't fall out. That's why I'm almost like, did he just intentionally do this shit? Because Stoltz just needs the money. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, if someone's so desperate for money that they can't say no, even if the guy misses weight, because they're going to get an extra paycheck, I feel like that's a little bit taking advantage of the situation, where Gastelum probably wouldn't mind if the fight fell out. He probably has enough saved up. But as to Dustin, he's probably like, shit, I don't have I can't afford to not fight. I'm coming off a loss. Haven't been having the best career so far in the UFC. I really need this fight, need this win. So I'll just take it regardless of if he makes weight or not. And I just feel like it was just like, come on, Kelvin. This has happened so many times, bro. I'm like, just get it together. At least he was able to get the win. But yeah, definitely a little bit of an asterisk on the huge weight miss, but still a win in the end.
Still a win in the end, as of course. And it's just very, it's one though. Just what happens next, really? Like, truly.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Next?
Lightweight, light heavyweight.
Like, he might as well move to light. He's becoming Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah,
there was a stretch where Johnny Hendricks couldn't make weight, and then after he got knocked out by Paulo Costa, I believe at middleweight, they were like, "Dude, just retire, man. Just go ahead. Like, you don't need to do this anymore."
Yeah.
Our next fight. By the way, we got a win for Gastelum, so it was a shocker, because I was like, should I pick Gastelum? But I was like, you know what? I got to go with the UFC bet every single day of the week. I'll always go with Gastelum, because I feel so like he's gonna definitely do. He's not 500 pounds like Lil Tecca, but he's definitely gonna go out there and go and put on a big performance, whether you like him or not. And of course, our next fight, Rafa Garcia against Jared Gordon, which we did not know this until after the fight from Bilal Muhammad's tweet.
Yes, bro.
After the weigh-ins, Jared Gordon was struck by a car. His knee popped out. They told him to pull out. He said, "No, I'm not gonna fucking do that." Went out here and almost won the fight. He very well almost won this fight. Like it was very close. He was landing those big shots towards that third round, but then once Rafa rocked Gordon, I feel like that. Like we saw that the entire split change. It was like split screen. Like you see someone winning, and then you see someone immediately like the next phrase, and not the same ever again. Garcia landed those big shots. There was I believe that there was a moment where I was like, oh, Gordon's gonna be able to get out of this. but of course, a knee popped out. Your cardio is, of course, like getting drained by the fucking moments, and just being in a situation where you're getting rocked. Props to Gordon for having so much heart and endurance in there. But of course, Rafa Garcia picks up the big TKO elbow win. Those ground and pound elbows was so freaking nasty. It's kept
Yeah.
splitting him open, and I was like, "Come on!" And it's pull off the fight. Come on already. I don't want any more damage happening to Gordon.
Mm.
So of course, Rafa Garcia picks up a big win, third round, 2 minutes and 27 seconds, over Jared Gordon of all. This is of course, lightweight fight. There's so many weird things for the lightweight division as well because it's like, you know, there's none of these two, of course, are ranked, but you think to yourself like Rafa Garcia with what he's been able to do at power, how he's able to bounce back. He's been in the UFC for quite some time. He was also a former Combate Americas lightweight champion. He's been part of the UFC since 2014, and of course him winning for of course Mexico for his for his culture for the UFC Noche card. It was big for him. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see that coming. I wish I knew about the car accident or getting hit by a car beforehand. Maybe I would have changed the pick, but maybe not. So shout out to Garcia, man. It was definitely a competitive fight, but in the end, he overpowered him, like you're saying, and was eventually able to get only his second ever KO TKO in his entire career. So
Wow.
that's got to be a huge accomplishment for him, especially coming in as the underdog, getting the underdog KO TKO when, yeah, he hasn't had one since 2018 when he was on the regional scene. So that is pretty crazy. And Gordon, maybe the knee played a big factor, so I'm like, maybe he should have pulled out, but we don't know the exact situation. So only he knows. But yeah, still has balls of steel to still step in there after getting hit by a car. Wild that's even allowed to be cleared after that. I just got hit by a car yesterday. I'm good
wonder
to
if
go.
he kept it as a secret. I
Yeah.
wonder if he kept it as under wraps. Like, no one's gonna find out I got hit by a car. Like,
For real, I'm like,
crazy for
that's
everybody.
definitely the first I've heard of someone getting hit by a car and fighting the next day. But yeah, definitely shows that he's a true warrior. But yeah, Rafa was the better man on the night, potentially due to a car, potentially not. We'll never know unless they fight again without the car. But yeah, definitely probably one of the biggest wins of his entire career. So definitely, we'll see what he does next. I'm interested to see if they match him up with someone. Another veteran, or maybe send him in against a prospect.
Of course, and it's just so insane because of course, we saw how this event ended. We saw how, of course, how everything went down for a lot of these fighters, and for Rafa Garcia to of course get back in there, get of course another win. It's definitely be a interesting turnaround of how we see in the next couple of months how these fighters keep that momentum, keep that hype from UFC Noche and try to get into that next event. Because of course there's the co-main event and the main event slot we're going to talk about next that are going to be huge heading into the next couple of months. But of course, let's get right into it. David Martinez stepped in on, of course, a short notice to fight to fight Rob Font. Rob was supposed to fight Raul Rosas Jr., which could have been a very different fight. Who knows? But David Martinez steps in on this, and wow, was it a great fight. Like, I can understand this. I can understand this hype. I can understand why so many people are, of course, rooting behind him. Why he feels the way that he feels. The things that he does, the way that he makes people feel from his fights, it gets you amped up. It makes you want to go out
Mm-hmm.
there and start shadowboxing like your neighbor and whatever. But like you don't know. And David Martinez, another thing is that Rob Font, of course, is a UFC vet. He's been there against just about everybody. David
Yeah.
Martinez was the last Mexican on this card to have a fight. And for him to go out here and to put on this big performance, 29-28 on all judges' scorecards, he automatically knew what he won the fight. He automatically knew there's no split decision. The fight's gonna go right in my hands. I've landed all the perfect blows. I've landed all the perfect shots as well. He landed. By the way, he's 13-1. Now he did not make any of his takedowns. 0 for 2, but so was Rob Font. He was 0 for 5. And then we had 115 strikes to 49. 62 of them were significant to, of course, Rob Font's 49 significant. Each strike of Rob Font was significant. 49 strikes, 49 significant. That's pretty great. But of course, when you land 115 strikes in total, and 62 of them are significant, you saw the toll that it took. And David Martinez is a goddamn beast. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad I picked him. I was definitely split. I've seen Rob. I literally lost $100 with my buddy one time where he was like, Rob will get the first round knockout against Adrian Yanez. And I was like, $100 on it? That's the free money. And then he knocks him out in the first round. I'm like, oh my God. So I'll always remember Rob Font for losing me $100, getting a first round straight up bet with my buddy. I'm like, are you serious right now? And ended up having to pay him $100 after that.
Goddamn.
So ever since then, I'm always scared to pick against him. But Martinez was just too good for me to go against. He's been looking amazing on the Contender Series up to his UFC debut and now his second ever UFC fight. He's thrown in there against a tough veteran in the division and was able to win the fight decisively. Or Font definitely made it a tough fight, but it was a clear winner for sure. And for you to be able to do that in only your second ever UFC fight against someone on the level of Rob Font is hugely impressive, especially where we've seen Rob turn back contenders before. We've seen him beat Kyler Phillips. We've seen him beat Gene Matsumoto in his last two fights. So he sent back two prospects in his last two fights. So it was crazy to see Martinez able to just really look like the veteran in there, which was crazy to see. So I'm glad I picked him, and Martinez is definitely going to be someone we're going to have to look at as a serious contender in that 135-pound bantamweight division, 100%.
100%. And not only just that, it definitely is it feels like a situation where there's another fighter that I'm trying to call off. I'm trying to remember the name of. He recently fought Brandon Royval. I'm blanking on the name.
Are you talking Joshua Van?
Joshua Van and David Martinez, I feel like, are twins. Like those two go in there and they want to start a war, they're gonna start war. And of course, with the division that they're both in and everything, we've seen so much out of it. We've seen so many different situations. I feel like those two are definitely future title contenders, and they could easily win the championship if all goes right for them. What do you call it? There's so much, of course. Right now is the Ariel Helwani show. So, of course, he was interviewing Shakur Stevenson, great boxer, as always. And so even Elliot Tapurdia has been getting himself into the fucking mix of the whole Terrence Crawford stuff. So I'll get into that, of course, way later. We even have some new fights announced, and I think some of them, like Bo Nichols, got a fight right now. Like he just got announced right now, but we'll get into that in a moment. I know, of course, that's why this is gonna be good. But heading into our main event, by the way, congrats to you for picking Martinez. I picked Font. That bit me in the ass.
So we were tied going into the main on the predictions here. So this is it. All came down to the wire here. Me or Rami, who's gonna win?
It was you were leading, of course. I'm 3-4.
So I guess it could have been a tie.
It would have been a tie if I would have gotten Silva to win, and that's why I picked specific. I was like, I'm gonna change my co-main and main event to these two, just because I feel like it'll add more of excitement, and it did. At the end, I was like, fuck, man, like Max got it. Like, but people be named Max be doing the minimum, but like this week, but for this, I love that meme. I had to use it. But for this situation, it was nuts. I was like, man, props to you, man.
The whole fight, bro, was just crazy.
The whole fight was just crazy, and we're getting into it right now. Diego Lopez against Gene Silva, the fighting nerd Gene Silva, who kept saying all week, which is, here's the funny thing. He kept saying all week, he kept betting on Diego Lopez, I want you to shoot for a takedown. I'll bet you that if you shoot for a takedown, I'll pay you even. I'm like, okay, weird. And Diego Lopez was like, I'm not going to do that. But then he did that. Like he got the takedown.
And made it worth it.
And got the top mount. Elbow. You kept seeing the splits in Gene Silva's forehead over and over. It was like a massacre. It was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre all over again. And he just got freaking Jedediah coming out with a chainsaw, freaking slicing off foreheads. Like Diego Lopez, once he grew that stash, he became even more violent. And he was
Yeah.
already violent enough. But that little stash right there was just elbows, 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 punches. Like everything he was landing was beautiful. Gene Silver gets out of it. He rocks Lopez for a moment, but then it heads into the second round. And the second round comes in, and then we think that Gene Silva is gonna probably win this because he started
Yeah.
rocking Lopez, and like,
A
oh, Lopez
lot.
can't get him to the ground. Silva's back up and everything. And then Silva made a massive, massive mistake. Once he thinks he's got Lopez rocked, he's just charging after him. Lopez says, "What do I got to lose?" Spinning elbow, lands it right on Silva's dome, drops him, ground and pound, and Silva was out of it. Silva, if Silva said, "Oh, I was still in the fight, like I could have gotten out of that situation," no, brother. No, you were laying on your side like you were the little spoon and you were getting beaten up by your partner. And then we were like, damn, this is just not good for you whatsoever. Lopez wins it. Second round, spinning back elbow and punches the Finn, win for a TKO finish. What are your thoughts on Lopez getting this?
Yeah, dude, what a fight. That first round, I was like, all right, it's almost looking over. Diego's got it locked up. And then that second round, then Gene has me worried. He starts rocking him, finding that chin consistently. And then out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, Diego lands that spinning back elbow, and I went crazy. I was like, oh my God, dude, what a performance from Diego Lopez. Always is so composed, even when he's getting rocked. Like, he's able to stay composed, to look for his shots, stay patient. And I think that was a big difference to where we saw him in the past maybe go a little too crazy, get himself in some trouble. This one, he was getting rocked still, so he needs to work on the defense, but he was able to stay patient and find that offense at the perfect time, find that spinning back elbow, which we saw Gene Silva try to land himself and almost do it, but Lopez did it much better, was able to time it better, and ultimately find that perfect shot on the head where he went down, face planted, and he was able to land the ground and pound, and that was that. And then we saw Gene having a tough time process the result and started raging, even like try to punch Diego after he walked away, after he tried to settle it, but then he was still yelling at him. So definitely a learning lesson for Gene on how to take a loss and also to work on the holes in his game. Diego's able to capitalize on his lack of awareness going in, and he was able to make him pay and get him out of there. What a performance from Diego Lopez. It makes me wonder, I'm like, how damn good is Volk able to beat Diego Lopez? And then we see Gene Silva, who a lot of us thought could be a potential champ, myself included, honestly. These two guys are definitely my two favorite prospects, contenders, my favorite contenders. And Lopez just showed that he was a step above and that Gene needs to have a little more experience. I think that Lopez has had the better resume 100%. So this is definitely probably Gene's toughest test for sure. So it was a little bit too much. I definitely think that they will come back stronger. All the fighting nerds, really. We saw all of them have a tough time. So they all really need to bounce back. We saw Bajalio lose, and then we saw Rufy lose, and now we've seen Gene Silva lose. We saw Prates lose, but he bounced back with another win. So I feel like the other three will also bounce back. But definitely a lot to learn after this past week where all three of them lost, but they still put on very fun fights. So no shame in that whatsoever. I see a lot of people calling them frauds, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, let's settle down. I'm like, one loss doesn't mean you're a fraud, guys. Unless you lose to some freaking unranked dude that's like awful, you know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
If you lose to a top contender, I'm like, I think that's just losing to a top contender, not being a fraud. But we'll see what happens from here, you know?
I'm friends on I'm good friends with Jason House, who is the of course manager for Diego Lopez, and of course he posted on his socials and everything, which I saw. This person on Twitter put, so Jason House has signed Diego Lopez to Death Wish, worst manager in MMA. I'm crying. Hashtag UFC Noche. Well, Jason House commented on it months later, saying, "Hey Kyle, how do you like them apples?"
Ooh,
Because it's the
keep
truth.
their seats, yep.
keep those receipts. Everyone's gonna say like, oh, Diego's in trouble. Gene Silver's a different beast. Are we not looking like I can understand when they're saying, oh, Bryce Mitchell? I can understand that. Like,
Yeah.
okay, Bryce Mitchell's not gonna survive against Gene Silver. But we're talking about Diego Lopez, a former title contender who can very well get right back to that title now. He can just
Yep.
that's it. Like he beat Gene Silva. Him versus Lerone Murphy could be huge, or him
Yeah.
versus Movsar Evlov could be even bigger. Like there's so freaking much happening in that featherweight division. Plus, Aljamain Sterling's still there. There's so
Yep.
much going on in that division that it's so much fun. But that was the end. You got the big win. And I'm glad I won the prelims. I'm glad I got the prelim win at least. But you, of course, got the main card, dessert,
Let's
and everything.
go.
Everything was perfect. Another big win for you.
Those last two clutched up for me, man. That was the decider.
I know. Like this has been so much fucking greatness. Like every time we have to pick one of these fights, I'm like, who's gonna win? And I'm like, all right, see, I knew that was gonna happen. And then when Silva loses, I'm like, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Like so, it's like
For
it's
real,
always
though.
so much fun. But that was, of course, the UFC Noche card. Our next fight card will be next week, and then our next show will be in 2 weeks. I believe the following Monday after the UFC's visit to Perth, Australia, where Carlos Ulberg, the hometown native, of course, will fight Victorville, California's own Dominic Reyes. Of course, I'm from Victorville, so of course I will be, hoping that he wins. But I really don't know who to pick in this fight because
Yeah.
it's a very scary situation. Like Ulberg's been dominant, so you really can't stop Ulberg whatsoever. He's definitely been taking a bigger pace and learning from his teammates. Of course, guys like Tucker, Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, like all these guys, of course, are in his ear, letting him know, like you could be the best in the world, and we're right there behind you, rooting for you every step of the way. Um, of course, I do want to mention some brief things beforehand. Yesterday, a huge announcement was made. We thought that we were going to get a fight between Anthony Fluffy Hernandez and Werner the Ritter at UFC Vancouver on October 18th. That will no longer be the case. Anthony Hernandez is out. It will now be Brandon Allen taking on the challenge of Werner the Ritter. Did they fight before? Someone said that.
Uh,
I don't know if they fought because he's fought Fluffy, I believe. He fought Fluffy Hernandez, but I
mm-hmm.
don't know about Running the Ritter. But Brendan Allen's been in a situation like this before. I don't want to see Brendan Allen fight in a main event, all due respect to him. But like I was like, you couldn't do this like a feature prelim. Like I could accept it on pay-per-view. Like a feature prelim between Running the Ritter and freaking Brendan Allen. I could take that because I see Running the Ritter and Anthony Hernandez as the next title challengers. Brendan Allen, you defeated Marvin Vettori. And if you stand up, if you're a plate and you're standing up, you can beat Marvin Vettori. You know what I mean? Like all you gotta do is just be standing up. That's it. He's not gonna take you down. He's not gonna do anything to you. But that's the new fight. We also got Sergey Spivak who fights Shamil Garziev at UFC Qatar on November 22nd.
Let's
After
go,
that,
Kazeev.
Gerald Meerschaert is back. He will fight on November 15th at UFC 322 against Kyle Dawkins. That was just announced 19
Coming off
hours
that
ago.
dub, that big ass dub against Michelle Pereira, so that'll be a good one.
Exactly, and we got two new big fights at UFC 322 on November 15th. Let me first open up this card. Before I do announce these cards, these fights. Bo Nickel will be back. He'll be fighting Rodolfo Vieira. That's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, good matchmaking for him.
Very good matchmaking. It keeps him very because he's been saying, I want to fight top contenders. I want to fight the very best of the best. Well, that right there is the very best of the best, and that's gonna be very exciting. Already for a fight at UFC 322 has on November 15th at MSG. By the way, this is gonna be the fights that already are so far announced. Jack Del Madalena will fight Islam Akshayev. The co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko against Zhang Weili, and then another fight, Leon Edwards against Carlos Prates, who we just spoke about. I feel like that's a death wish for Leon Edwards. I feel like that is a true death wish if Prates is able to land what he did against Jeff Hands or Steel Neal. But then another fight that got booked for this card, UFC 322. I believe this will be the featured prelim, and I'm gonna say that right there. UFC featured prelim, I believe, Roman Kopylov against Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop is back against Roman Kopylov. Kopylov just lost to Paulo Costa. Gregor Rodriguez has been having such a great time for himself. Here are the here are the announced bouts so far. Aaron Blanchfield against Tracy Cortez, Rodolfo Vieira against Bo Nickel, Bazan Gursurfikov against Eric Makanico, sorry. Angela Hill against Fatima Klein, Mearshot against Dawkins, Kopylov against Rodriguez. MSG is popping up very big, of course, but I cannot wait to see what happens, of course, next with these fights, because there's so many different fights that we can book between. But our next card will be in Australia, and then after that we will have finally our first pay-per-view since August. After that, UFC 320, Ankalaev Pereira 2. We'll get into that briefly, but of course, for this fight, for the Perth, Australia card, Branda Pericic will open up the card against Alicia Ellison. Then we have women's action, Michelle Montaigne against Luana Carolina, Jamie Malarkey against Rolanda Bedoya, and then we fast forward to Loma Lukbuni to Alex Tanada. The featured prelim will be Louis Sutherland against Justin Taffa, which his brother Junior will be fighting on the card later on in the co-main. But Tom Nolan against Evan Elder, Jake Matthews, the Aussie born, against Neil Magny, Jimmy Crute against Ivan Urslan, Jack Jenkins, who looked so good in his last fight, against Roman Taveras, Junior Taffa against Ivo Aslan, and then the main event is Carlos Ulberg, Dominic Reyes, and then UFC 320, which will be on October 4th for everybody who's excited about spooky season. We have Veronica Hardy against Brogan Walker, Patchy Mex against Jacob Wakajas, Macy Kiason against Yana Santos, Chris Gutierrez against Farid Basharat, Edmund Sabazian, Andre Muniz, Atiba Abega Gautier against Austin Diaz, which we saw a very, very big finish from Atiba before. Zupian Magomed against Joe Piper, Josh M against Yusuf Izalal, Yuri Prohaka against Khalil Roundtree, Marabdullah Ashwili against Corey Sanhagen, and then lastly, Magomed Ankalaev in his first main event defending the title against his former opponent, Alex Pereira, who looks to stop the train before anything continues further. So much fun. So much good stuff, of course. Well, we're not gonna make any predictions right now, of course, but like it's just the UFC is, of course, putting out these banger cards. We got Australia, we got Vegas, we got Abu Dhabi, we got so many different cards. Top Aspinall will defend the heavyweight title, for the first time in years, because John Jones held that division down against Cyril Gahn, who I call him Garrus from Mortal Kombat. If you've ever seen that character, looks exactly the same. The chest piece, same. The head scan, same. But it should be fun. Thank you to everybody, all 365 of you who tuned in for another edition of Talktagon. This is episode 30. 30 episodes deep. We now have 20 more episodes before Max and I gotta spar each other. So I get to get. Remember that whole thing about the whole hat? Like we're gonna spar episode 50. We're gonna spar each other. So it's all for that goddamn fucking hat. Okay? So we're gonna definitely. Oh, calm down. But now it was so much fun. Of course, another week. We were supposed to do this episode yesterday. I was very busy in the morning, and then you messaged me like, "Oh, I thought you the graphics," and I was like, "Oh fuck, we had that show."
For real, bro. The Canelo fight threw me off. For real, I'm like,
really
went straight to boxing.
I was gonna tell you to put up predictions for that because I picked Crawford, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, I got one up on you, pal." But I was like, "No,
we would have tied." That is a bonus. I did pick Canelo. Rami picked Crawford, so that is a tie on the week in total.
Man, it'd be crazy. But it was so much fun. Max, where can they find you on your socials?
Find me at Combat Combos on Twitter/X, and then find me at Brawl and Draw. That's my art account. Check it out on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, always so much fun with you, bro. Talking fights, talking our predictions, one-upping each other, sometimes winning, sometimes losing, you never know. So it's always so much fun.
And you can find me on my socials. Who else but Rami? Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. I recently published a video this past weekend for my interview with Kid Bandit. Always fantastic to talk to her. It was for the T-Boy Wrestling, Trans Boy Wrestling, of course, event that happened this past weekend here in Los Angeles. over 120 trans femme, trans masculine, non-binary wrestlers all teaming up there, all battling it out. It was a very, very fun event from the looks of it. And of course, it live streamed on Twitch if anybody does want to check it out. My interview with Hyen, you can of course watch it. It's uploading on the YouTube tomorrow. Plus, I will have another clip out on my Instagram from that interview where we spoke about briefly about her upcoming weekend. This weekend is big for wrestling fans and for everybody in the independent scene. It's all out weekend for AEW, but it's also WrestlePalooza on the same day. WWE and AEW trying to counterproduct each other. Well, WWE mostly trying to counterproduct AEW and having an event on September 20 this Saturday. Almost around the same time, 3 hour difference in a way. 12 p.m. will be the sort of all out for West Coasters. 3 p.m. will be the start for WrestlePalooza on ESPN Plus. But of course, I interviewed Hyen. She spoke about her match with Marina Shafir, the bodyguard to John Moxley. We even spoke about John Moxley and about his, his fork addiction with, people's foreheads. But like, so it's so much fun. She was always amazing to talk to. Kid Bandit was a great person to talk to. I'm very, very happy about my opportunity that I got this past Friday as well, where I got to be on Fightful for the SmackDown post show. Big shout out to Kate. She was a very, very amazing host, of course, and everybody who welcomed me with love, showed some love, and everything was very, very it made me feel like, of course, once again, I do belong in this space, that I do belong in this, in what I'm doing. I'm very, very grateful. Of course, I showed you were one of the very first people. You, my friend Brooke, and of course the fellas in my group chat and everything, like Dawson, Brian, all the rest of the fellas. I showed them, and I waited for the full post to be made before I got shared on everything. I love the love that I was shown, of course, by certain people. I didn't feel all the love from certain people I work with, but I'm not gonna go calling them out or anything. But like, I feel like if we're supposed to be a team, we're supposed to support all of us in that team. But if people don't want to see my stars shine, then I guess that we're not gonna try to see other stars shine. But it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, they're seeing red, and I'm not. So you know what I mean. But but like, so I'm just very, very happy as usual. Thankful to Fightful, thankful to everybody who allows me to interview them, and thankful to all the opportunities I get in the future. So of course, big shout out to everybody who allows me to do my job as a Palestinian Salvadorian journalist. I do my very, very best to just give everybody the content that they rightfully deserve. And so, of course, thank you to everybody who tuned in, all 363 of you. We're gonna be back in about 2 weeks, I'd say 2 weeks. Because of course next week's card will be in Perth, Australia, and then the following Monday we'll be back. Of course, following Monday or Tuesday, depends on really the situation. And so I cannot wait for it. We're not gonna have no boxing card in the middle of all that, thankfully. So we're just gonna be able to just watch the fights and enjoy ourselves. And it's Australia as well, so it's gonna be a very early morning card. So I cannot wait. We will be back then. Thank you so much. Of course, if you're having a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good night, you've just watched another edition of Talktagon with myself, Rami, and a good friend of ours, Max. And so I cannot wait for the next one. Thank you so much to everybody. As you can hear that revving in the background, we got to get going. So thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. We will see you next time.